Welcome to the Good Morning Show. Thanks for joining us. I'm Lenitra Bennett.
And I'm Ramnu Katola. We want to get right to our top story this morning, and that's the continuing investigation into the mass shooting at a Texas elementary school.
An 18-year-old gunman opened fire at that elementary school, killing at least 19 children as he went from classroom to classroom. The suspect also killed 2 adults before he was killed by law enforcement.
Now, the shooting happening at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde. That's about 85 miles west of San Antonio. It's the worst school shooting in the U.S. since a gunman killed 20 children and 6 adults at Sandy Hook Elementary in Connecticut in late 2012. Here's Texas Governor Greg Abbott.
When parents drop their kids off at school, they have every expectation to know that they're going to be able to pick their child up when that school day ends. And there are families who are in mourning right now, and the state of Texas is in mourning with them for the reality that these parents are not going to be able to pick up their children.
Coming up in about 15 minutes, we'll go live to CBS's Danya Backus, who is in Texas with more on the situation.
All right, our other big story this morning, it's about the retrial of Catherine Magbanua. Spreadsheets, eyewitness accounts, and undercover investigations all shared on the 5th day of testimony in that trial. Now, of course, Magbanua accused of being the center point of a murder-for-hire plot.
The ex-girlfriend of one of the men already convicted in the killing of popular Florida state law professor Dan Markell taking the stand for the first time ever. Our Jacob Murphy has a recap of her testimony.
Never answered. Said she'd call me back, never called me back.
Jessica Rodriguez on the stand, the camera not showing her face following a prosecution request for her safety, recalling the day in summer 2014 when Sigfredo Garcia arrived with a package for Luis Rivera.
Was there anybody else present when Tudo brought the package?
Yes, Katie.
Who else?
The state argues that day was the day after the murder, when payoffs were made. The testimony backing up Rivera's and puts Magbanua right in the middle of the case.
How was she acting?
She was fidgety.
Okay.
In a rush.
But defense attorneys bringing up inconsistencies in the witness's prior statements, pointing out she never mentioned that meeting when first asked by police. Later, financial investigator Mary Hull testifying to her work, crunching Magbanua's bank account numbers. The jury asked to read between the lines, or in this case, the line, a striking visual showing a spike in cash deposits in late summer 2014 in the weeks after Dan Markell was murdered.
Which month is her highest amount of cash deposits?
August of 2014.
The state contends that spike is her piece of the pie for helping plot the murder. Hull analyzed the 44 checks Magbanua received from the Adelson Institute from fall 2014 to 2016, stopping after Garcia's arrest in late May 2016. Late in the afternoon, the case shifting to undercover work, the FBI agent recalling the day he recorded this video between Charlie Adelson and Magbanua.
The audio quality was very poor due to distance, due to noise, and due to the configuration of the equipment.
The state using this forensics engineer to enhance the audio, setting up the home stretch of the state's case.
Sir, please introduce yourself and spell your name.
The prosecution is expected to wrap up their case sometime today. It's not clear if the trial will be done by Friday as planned or if jurors will be asked to return next week after the Memorial Day holiday.
All right, our radar is a little bit active way out to the west. I'm talking like Mobile west, maybe getting as far east as Pensacola. A lot of this is drifting, though, more south to north, with just a little kind of drift back towards the east. It'd be nice if this organized batch of rain could get here and give us a widespread soaking, but watch on the Futurecast. Most of that stays way out west. I do see some clouds, and I'm not going to rule out a couple of scattered showers for today, but our better chance to get wet is actually going to come tomorrow when we talk about a boundary, a cool front getting here. Now, it's not going to cool things down very much, but it will dry things out heading in towards the weekend. But that's for the weekend. Today is Wednesday. It's going to be very muggy out there today. Maybe we get a couple of those scattered showers like we've had over the past couple of days, though I'm expecting fewer showers today. And I still think we could get daytime highs near 90. We got to 92 yesterday, so it's still going to be warm. It's still going to be muggy. But I think we're going to like this weekend forecast that's coming up. I'll break it down in just a couple of minutes.
All right, the time now is 6:04. Let's get to some election results from yesterday's primary in Georgia.
Yeah, and in the race for governor, we get to see a sequel to the 2018 election. Current Governor Brian Kemp, the projected winner of the Republican gubernatorial primary. Kemp beating out rival and former U.S. Senator David Perdue. Perdue, one of many candidates in Georgia, being backed by former President Donald Trump.
And looking at the Democratic side, as you know, Stacey Abrams running unopposed this time around, so she automatically moves on to the November election. And as Rob mentioned, this now setting up a repeat matchup from the 2018 election between Abrams and Kemp. According to the most recent polling in Georgia, Kemp holds a 5-point lead in that race.
All right, let's keep moving on in the Republican race for U.S. Senate. Former football star and Heisman winner and Georgia Bulldog Herschel Walker winning easy with close to 800,000 votes. That's 68% of the vote. Walker will move on to face current U.S. Senator Raphael Warnock from the Democratic side.
Let's move on to some local races now. In Thomas County, the Board of Education District 1, Republican Joey West winning.
For the District 3 position, incumbent Ken Harper winning with 80% of the vote.
And in Seat 5, Republican incumbent Leah Smith winning with 75% of the vote.
So with the stage now set, political analysts are getting a better sense for what November will hold. Experts expecting a lot of eyes to be on the Peach State following a number of races.
Our Brandon Spencer speaking with two political analysts last night, and neither could really predict who will come out on top, as Democrats will try to flip another statewide seat in their favor.
Season that saw record voting totals in Georgia. People had no trouble making their voices heard.
And no one expected that because there was such an outcry that this is going to be voter suppression and that black voters are not going to go because they changed a lot of things. Right. Well, this is such a monumental race that guess what? They are voting in large numbers, and it's been impressive.
Another unexpected development, a sitting governor challenged by a member of his own party. David Perdue challenging Brian Kemp, and while the two fought for votes, Democrat Stacey Abrams ran unopposed in her primary.
Usually what you would see is an incumbent would be walking back through the primaries without issue, and then the challenging party would be the ones where people would be fighting it out. And now we see the opposite. Stacey Abrams has gone effectively unchallenged.
But now the table is set. The Associated Press calling the race in favor of Kemp early Tuesday evening, setting up a monumental rematch that will determine the fate of Georgia's political landscape.
I mean, I think it's going to be very close, and nobody knows what's going to happen. These are two formidable candidates. Both have built real organizations. Both have real strong political skills. It's rare to see this kind of a battle developing.
Making for an epic race once again between Abrams and Kemp come November.
But I can assure you, even in the general election, that is going to be one of the most watched races on election night, November 8th.
Both analysts say they don't know what may sway the vote one way or the other, but they feel the results should have an impact on the presidential election come 2024.
Time now for First Alert Weather with meteorologist Rob Nucatola.
All right, we look at that forecast for today, and I think our story is about all the humidity. So much going to be one of those icky, sticky kind of days that we start with and stay with, and that should lead to at least some showers this afternoon. I don't think it's an everybody gets wet kind of deal. These past couple of days haven't been an everybody gets wet kind of deal, and I think today's chances to get wet a little bit lower than the previous couple of days, and maybe a lot lower than tomorrow when that next boundary gets here that hopefully brings in a little relief from all this humidity. So we've got some things to look forward to moving down the road, but today's our Wednesday. We've got lots of humidity around. We're going to cook up more clouds, and we can find a few scattered showers. Now off to the west, there's some organized weather, but it's moving almost straight south to north with just a little drift to the east, and that's likely going to go around our part of the southeast. So I'm not counting on very much from it, but maybe it can help to enhance at least a few of our scattered showers a little bit later on today. 72 in Tallahassee right now, 69 in Bainbridge, at 70 in Thomasville, and Valdosta we're at 71. A little bit of patchy fog. You'd think there'd be more with the air being as humid as it is, but a little breeze from the south and southeast doing a pretty good job to limit some of that fog. Now on Futurecast, going to bring in more clouds at times later on today, and some of those scattered showers still likely, but I don't think we're talking a widespread big soaking. And then as we get to tonight and tomorrow, our attention turns west, where this next boundary is coming from. Big weather coming through parts of Texas and Oklahoma and eventually Louisiana, and as it works its way east, that boundary is going to try to get here, and that's why our rain chances for tomorrow going to be so high. I think we've got a real good shot for maybe some organized showers and maybe some stronger thunderstorms tomorrow too. That is likely going to linger a little bit into Friday. Boundaries this time of year, they usually struggle to get pulled all the way through our part of the southeast, but once it gets through, and I think this one can, looks a whole lot drier and more comfortable for the weekend, even if it is going to stay hot. Our forecast for the next couple of days, lots of muggy today, still muggy tomorrow, but that better chance for showers and storms should keep the temperatures down a little bit. I think Friday, some lingering showers early, but clearing later, and the better stuff is on the way for the weekend.